Yo, what's up, dogs? I finally got to see American Fiction, and honestly, I've been waiting for this movie to come out of limited release for a while. I didn't even think it was going to get a wide release in Canada, but it finally did. It came out Thursday. I went on the Friday, paid afternoon money, you know what I'm saying, full price, and I went at 4 o'clock. There was like six people in the audience, and we genuinely, all of us, had a good time because we were laughing at the jokes, and it was thought provoking. And honestly, like, man, it was just worth the wait. I'm so happy about this movie. I really enjoyed this film quite a bit, and I'm glad I waited because I still have to do my top movies of the year, and I'm glad I got this one in because it's going to make the list. I enjoyed this movie so much, you know. I have my list here. There's not much bad. I couldn't really think of anything bad. I have a nitpick. That's about it. Nothing more. It's just nothing but a good movie. It's a solid film that I really enjoyed, and we'll get into it right now. Okay, so spoiler warnings going up right here, right now, just in case I talk a little bit too much about the story. But I'm going to try my best just to keep it to the good and the nitpick. That's all we got today. So, so with that, let's just get on to a brief synopsis of the story, okay? We are dealing with a character named Monk, who is a writer, and he's well known, but he doesn't make a lot of money from his writing. And this kind of irks him in a way because he's not getting those big publishing deals that he feels like he deserves because he is a black writer that just writes. Like, he's not writing about the black experience or black culture or even like black characters, you know what I'm saying? Like, even in a fictional sense. He's just writing what he wants to write. And so he kind of gets pigeonholed in a certain box of like, no, you're black. We want you to write black stories, you know, like be black. But he doesn't want to. He just is like, I don't want to cater to that. And so he comes across this book called We Live in the Ghetto, or We's Lives in the Ghetto. It's like really Ebonics, okay? And it's written by a character named Sintara Golden, right? And he hates the book because it's so pandering to black culture. And she does an excerpt, she reads about it. She reads an excerpt from her book, and it's hilarious because it's just Ebonics and slang, and just like, you're like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And it drives him nuts. He's like, I don't want anything to do with this. However, certain circumstances happen in his life where he kind of needs the money. And so one night he sits down and writes My Pathology with a pseudonym name, right? Is that the right word? Or it's a pen name, right? It's not his real authorial name, right? So he writes the book, and the people love it. The publishers love it. Everyone loves it. And it brings a lot of trials and tribulations into his world that he unforeseen. And it's awesome. And that's the story. That's just the general gist of the story, okay? And I don't want to ruin it for you. I do not want to ruin this movie for you at all. I want you to go and experience this film fresh. You know, don't even watch the trailer. Watch this bit of the review, but maybe not. Don't even finish this review. Go watch the movie, then come back if you remember me, okay? I don't even care if you finish my video. Go and watch that movie, and then you can come back whenever, okay? The review will always be here. So, let's get just straight into the good, okay? First thing first, I really liked the family unit portrayed in this film. They really came across as a legit family with trials and tribulations, and each sibling has their own thing against each other. And they also know how to push each other's buttons in such a way that only siblings understand how to do. You know what I'm saying? I have a little sister. She's not that younger than me, but she knows exactly what to say to take me into that unchill zone. You know what I'm saying? And that's how this movie kind of shows you, right? It's just how this family plays out. And it's a great family because, like, they really push out black excellence in this movie quite a bit. All the family members, like Monk, he's a doctor, but he's a writer. So he's got the PhD in writing, right? And so it's a running joke that everyone in this family is a doctor except for him. And he's like, I'm not that kind of doctor. And it's a good joke. He has his sister who is played by Tracee Ellis Ross, who's Lisa Ellison in this. And she is the, I guess, middle child. She is the sister who's kind of in charge of everything and looking after the mother, who is played by Leslie Uggams, who plays Agnes Ellison. And she has this relationship of like being the only one around that's taking care of the family, and it's kind of driving her nuts. But she still loves her brothers, you know what I'm saying? And speaking of brothers, the youngest brother is Sterling K. Brown, who plays Cliff Ellison, and he has his whole story. Like, each one of these characters have their own story, and it all works. It just all works, and I love it. That's probably the second thing on my list here is I love the characters in this movie, right? Like, you have a great family unit, and all the characters that play this family unit and the actors that are a part of that are great, right? And I forgot to mention that Jeffrey Wright plays Monk Ellison, who we follow throughout this entire film. So I just liked all these characters. There's even secondary characters and stuff that are great. It's just a really good cast. It's a good crew. Everyone felt believable, and that's like 1 and 2. It just felt like a real family. Everyone has their own story. Like, Cliff Ellison is going through a whole thing about coming out as gay. He got caught by his wife with another man, and he's going through a divorce, so he has all these other issues. His kids hate him. He's got drug problems, but he's a doctor. He's a plastic surgeon, and he's got some money, but he's losing all of his money in the divorce. And then we go back with Lisa Ellison, who's a doctor who does Planned Parenthood, I believe is what she did, and she dies. But it's crazy. Like, things that are happening in this movie, you're just kind of like, what? I thought we were going to be with this character forever, but no, she dies, and then like Monk has to deal with all these things that are going on in his life. So it's not just him dealing with the problems of being a black author. You also have his family life, right? And then we get another great thing in this movie is his personal life, where he's actually trying to date, right? And he dates Erika Alexander, who's named, her character's name is Coraline, and she's the lover, and she's a lawyer. Like, goes back to black excellence, right? Showing that these black characters can be more than gangsters and basketball players and stuff like that. Not saying that any of that's wrong, but it's just another avenue of like, look, we can be doctors, we can be teachers, we can be writers, we can be lawyers. Like, very positive messaging when you go and watch this film. You know, I personally, as an Indigenous fella, would love to see this Indigenous excellence out there in cinema myself. Anyways, I digress. I've already said this movie is absolutely funny. It's already down here. It's hilarious. I laughed quite a bit. Now, the story itself, the whole story, I find it to be very relatable to me, and you might find it as well, especially, you know, it's just family stuff, family trauma, family bonding, family trials and tribulations. Then there's relationships, trials and tribulations. It's a very relatable story. It's also kind of has some wholesomeness to it, some charm, and it's just warm and lovable at times too. It has a little bit of everything on top of humor. So the other thing that I really liked in here is the book has its own journey that he writes. My Pathology is awesome. Like, it's one of the crux to this movie, right? You have the family drama, you have the sibling drama, and the trials and tribulations and rivalries and all the stuff that goes on there, the relationship trauma, I should probably say drama, really, because it's not trauma. And then on top of this, he's going through all this stuff that's going on with this book, My Pathology, which he wrote as a satire to the system of authors, right? Because he's like, the only thing that's selling is his gangster stuff. So he doesn't want to be a part of it. He wants to be a real author. He looks at himself as a real author, and those that do that, reductive work, is not a real author, right? So he comes out and makes this book with a fake pen name. I can't remember his pen name, but he writes the book My Pathology, which is just a gangbanger story. And this story takes its own story arc that goes through line this movie, and it's actually really smartly balanced, I have to say. The director, Cord Jefferson, does a really good act he wrote it as well, co-wrote it. He has a really good balancing act between all this family stuff, this relationship stuff, and the driving force is this novel, which is driving Monk insane because he did it as a joke, right? So when he gets the first publishing deal, they want to give him like $7 million, and he finds it absurd. And then he gets a movie deal afterwards, right? And he finds that absurd. And then we find that he gets the book wins an award, which is also absurd, right? It's so many absurdities, but he's getting all this money, and he needs this money, and he can't tell anybody that he's doing this, but he needs this money to pay for the stuff that's going on with his mother, who has dementia, and she's losing it. You know what I'm saying? So he needs the money to pay these hospital bills, which is another driving force of why he even wrote the book in the first place. Not just to challenge Black culture, but also to pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? So there's this little bit of a sellout mentality of like, you sold out to help yourself, but you sold out to the culture. You know what I'm saying? You sold out to the white man in a sense, right? And that plays out in this movie quite a bit. The other thing I would really like to point out here is the evolution of Monk, because he goes from this kind of a guy who's, for lack of a better words, a loner and kind of sticks to the shadows. But like when he releases this book, he starts kind of changing, and metamorphosis is happening to him. And it's a lot of pressure is building up in his life that he's not used to having, because he's used to being a solitary, stoic kind of guy. But now, like, traumas, like, he's just been bombarded by all this, everything all at once. And you get to really see him go through a metamorphosis, which is awesome to watch. And also, when he plays, I don't know how to word this, but he goes into a gangster type personality to sell the book, because they don't believe him as this hoity-toity black author, but they believe him as this guy who is a gangbanger who may or may not have served time in prison and is wanted by the law. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very interesting character metamorphosis that we get to watch and be a part of. It's fun. It's enjoyable. So what else do I got here? Fine. Okay, so the final two things I'd like to mention here that are good. One, we have a scene where he sits down to write My Pathology, and that scene is absolutely awesome because it breaks the fourth wall of him writing, and it's acted out in front of him, and we get Keith David making a cameo, and he's acting out the scene as Monk is writing it, and it's just great. I really enjoyed that sequence a lot. And the final thing that I would just like to point out that I really did enjoy Cord Jefferson's direction in this movie as well. He does actually frame out and block out some really nice scenes, and there is some moments in time where you just get to rest with the characters, and I enjoyed it. I think he did really good with the pacing. It doesn't feel like an hour and 57-minute movie. I felt like it flew by for me. I was so invested in it that time did not matter. So that's the last good thing in this movie. Now, I have one nitpick, and it's not even a nitpick because, you know what? It's a silly because I liked it. So this might bug people, I don't know, but I really liked how, you know what? It's a good, I don't care. You guys might not like it, I don't care, I liked it. I liked how the white characters in this movie are portrayed as overly comical white caricatures of white people. Like, they were hilarious. They were just so over the top, more not like the common blue collar worker, you know what I'm saying? But these are more of the affluent, elitists, think they're in a good position in life and think better than most others, you know what I'm saying? And they're very comical and very caricature, and you kind of hate them, but you're laughing at them because you think this whole movie is absurd as well. You're just like, these characters are so absurd. I don't like them. I'm laughing at them. They're dorks. You know what I'm saying? And they come across that way, and it's good. I liked it. I laughed at every single time that those white characters were on the screen. They made me laugh, and some people out there might take offense to it. I don't care. It was hilarious. Deal with it. Anyways, that is the end of my review. As you can tell, I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I do think you should go and watch this film. Either stream it, digital download, whatever you can do, go and see this movie. It is an enjoyable thing. You will be leaving the theater thinking about this film a lot. Because I did. Like, I was thinking about black culture a lot and how I grew up with it, right? Like rap music, movies, television, and how it is literally like basketball, gangster movies, more sports movies, movies about music and stuff like that. Like, it's very slave movies, right? So it really made me think about how I've consumed black culture over the decades, right? And it was a really thought-provoking movie, especially for myself. So it might make you think as well. Will I buy this movie? Yes, as soon as it comes out. If I can get it, I'm going to buy it. Day one purchase, no problems. And yeah, that's really it for me. The next movie I'm going to review is The Book of Clarence, and then The Beekeeper, and then my reviews for Best and Worst will come out shortly after that as well, because I think I've caught up on everything for 2023. Like, if Pretty Things shows up somewhere, we might get a little delay on my Best of the Year thing. Yeah. So anyways, I'm out of here, guys. Whatever movie you guys are watching, I hope you're loving them and digging them. Peace out. Bye.